on, everybody? It's Andy here with Bliss Cards. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're dropping a new vlog where we head to Orlando for the Orlando Collecticon convention. I've heard about these conventions for a long time and put it on my list in 2023 to make sure to get to some of these in 2024. I was actually down in Orlando on vacation with my family at Disney for the week, and we had intended to vend at this show, and I drug my feet a little bit with the grabbing of a table for vendors, and before I knew it, they were completely sold out, which will not be a surprise when we get into this video. You'll see it was completely packed there, but we did attend for a couple of hours one day throughout the weekend, and we're going to dive into this and check out our very first experience at one of these Collecticon events. As always, if you're new here, my name's Andy. We cover all things sports cards, Pokemon, and beyond. Would love it if you would consider subscribing, so please hit that button down below. And without further ado, let's jump into the vlog. All right, gang, here we are at the Orlando Collecticon. I got my main man, Donovan, there. This is us in the heat in Orlando. It was super hot. As I said, we were there on vacation, but look at this place. It's just enormous, and the hype was at an all-time high. We were super excited to check out this big Pokemon event. As you all know, I started as a kid in sports cards, and this is I've been getting into Pokemon through my children, and this is definitely our first like full-time Pokemon thing. So we're heading up the escalator, having a lot of fun, and really excited to see what this thing looks like. Again, if you're new here, would love it if you'd consider subscribing. We love putting these videos together for y'all, and there's a lot more coming. This summer we've been traveling a lot. We just dropped our vlog from the Dallas card show, and this is a sneak peek into the Orlando Collecticon. You can see the venue here is absolutely enormous. Like, these were some of the rooms on the sides that were not even being used as we kind of made our way back through hallways and a variety of different paths to find the actual con. But we knew we were in the right places. Some of these people coming toward us were dressed up in cosplay, and some of the Power Rangers were there, so we especially knew we were in the right place here because we saw the blue and the pink ranger. So our goal for this visit was very much just to get our feet wet. We loved seeing this like mech of Iron Man there. That was super cool. And this was definitely one of our very favorite moments when we stepped in here. There's the Pikachu. Yeah.
That's the real chunk.
The real chunk, that's right. Nice. This is cool, Donna. Look at this over here. So yeah, this entrance was awesome. The big Pikachu made a huge impact on us, seeing the PSA inflatable Charizard there, the mantle, the Jordan rookie. I mean, the hype was awesome. It was so cool. And then here it looks like PSA and SGC had on-site submissions. And then we finally got to experience our first entrance into the hall here, and it was just a complete party. Go ahead and check this out. All right, man.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Where do we go first? Let's go this way. So this was our first look into the Orlando Collecticon. It's completely packed. You can hear the music is pumping. Just a really fun vibe, but I will say it was very crowded. We really didn't know like which direction to go. So you can see the huge Troll and Toad booth there, PSA over on the left. I mean, we're just kind of trying to find the lay of the land, how big the space is. And yeah, there's vendors obviously everywhere. It was really cool to just kind of navigate through here and, you know, just kind of see what all was in store for the show. It took quite a while actually to get familiar with like what was there and what people had. You can see these folks even had like a whole square setup. Sorry about my finger in the shot there. And yeah, it was pretty overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool. We were really excited and we had a lot of fun, but especially for this first 30 minutes, it almost felt like we couldn't get through the aisles, especially when we get up here to the left. This guy's got on a Bulbasaur shirt, which is really cool. I've seen the vlogs there, of course, a ton. Shout out to those guys. Cards HQ, our friends over there, were there buying up for the TCG side of their store. But yeah, as we take a left here and kind of start heading north-south, if you will, in some of these aisles, it got really, really crowded to the point where you almost couldn't walk through. But yeah, Pokemon cards everywhere, really neat. And very first time into a Collecticon was a really, really cool experience. All right, so we finally made it to our first table on the way. We honestly just kind of headed to the back and cut through the middle, and I was floored. I mean, it was no surprise, but I guess it was Master Set Games here, so shout out to them. Look at all these cards. I mean, the Ponchu Pikachus right away, the Pikachu promos, the Scream stuff, like you can see way up top there, they've got the Mario and the Luigi card. And these are some of the biggest cards in the Pokemon hobby, card hobby, and you know, we saw them at the first table we walked up to. This is us in the back. I'm just kind of giving you a panorama of like the whole room. That's where we came in, way up there. So we had just kind of come in and cut straight to the back to sort of get a slice of what things were like. And just started approaching tables to kind of see what all everybody had. They had, you know, here I can see a bunch of different vintage stuff, which is something I'm still getting familiar with. I'm not an expert at that stuff. Some of the vendors had these like plexiglass things and didn't even have a showcase. We chatted with this guy for quite a while. He was super, super friendly. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Pokestop.tcg. I think he said he was from California. You can see the Bubble Mew and the Charizard from 151 there, slabbed up. And we had a really nice chat, and his prices seemed to be really reasonable. There's the Moonbreon there, raw, as well as the Lugia V from Silver Tempest on the bottom. There's the Brilliant Stars Charizard over there, some alt arts, the Zapdos and the Alakazam from 151, if I'm not mistaken. Then we started strolling around here a little bit more, and I'll just give you a sense of what it sounds like in here. So as you heard me start to say there, you couldn't even get up to some of the tables. It felt like the room was not big enough for this size of a crowd, which was maybe one of the negative takeaways we had. You see somebody there dressed up as Willy Wonka, and this is our bread and butter, actually, is the Lego thing. If you guys don't know, I have another channel for Bliss Brick Studios where we do all Lego content. Unfortunately, most of these minifigures were fake. And it wasn't, I mean, the word Lego was not used anywhere. They were just called figs. I didn't get a super close look, but it was still cool to see some Lego product there. And I'm sure there was also some real ones mixed in. I didn't get to see the catalog all that closely. This collection, however, was really, really impressive. I had not heard of this company before. I'm sure someone out there watching is surprised by that because they seem like the kind of place you should have heard about. They had unbelievable stuff. They were from Japan. You can see there's the Moonbreon in Japanese. Mew, just tons of slabs in Japanese and English. And I was Cardova, there it is. I was really impressed by their booth and just their overall selection. Each case seemed to have kind of a bit of curation to it. So, you know, as we move down the line here, you'll see there's a variety of different stuff. There's the Iono and the Reshiram. This entire case was Charizards for the most part, as you can see. I mean, just all kinds of fire lizards in there. They're everywhere. And some older ones for sure, which was really cool. Like I said, that second row on the right is the gold medal one from the Ultra Premium collection. We actually graded that one ourselves and we got an 8. And then I just recently picked that up and in a 10 from CGC. So I'm really excited about that. That's definitely a favorite card of ours. Here, there's some more vintage stuff, some more Japanese slabs, as you can see there. There is a Gem Mint 10 from CGC of the Japanese Moonbryon. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. So, as someone who's still trying, oh, that card's huge. Really, really awesome card. I actually saw that at a show once in a PSA 1, which is hilarious. But anyway, so there you see the Giratina on the bottom, and having a lot of fun with Donovan as he just points out, different cards, and we're just kind of looking through, seeing what we're seeing. And for me, it's a huge learning experience to see this size of catalog and just what everybody has, trying to kind of level up into being in a room of this size with this much Pokemon, and then trying to familiarize your stuff with like, what are the common denominators, and then what are the outliers that are truly unique. As I think about vending as a younger, newer person, that's a huge issue there. So this was super fun. We had the Ghostbusters walking through in full costume, which was awesome. And everybody was just having a really, really great time. You can see there's kids everywhere. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I one of the big takeaways I wanted from this show was just trying to get a handle on what everybody brings. The modern stuff is where we do most of our work because we're newer to the hobby and we're kind of working our way backwards, if you will. And of course, like, it's not going to be hard to find a Charizard from 151 or something like that. They're going to be at almost every table. So one of the things I was really paying attention to was how people organized their inventory, showcases versus binders. At sports card shows, they have boxes and boxes of top-loaded cards, but in the Pokemon community, seems to not be a thing. Everybody wants them in binders. Speaking of sports cards, here were some that we saw. We saw very, very few when we were there. I'm not saying we saw every table. I'm sure there were some that we didn't come across, though this was a cool case with some Jordans and some Kobe's. There's some 90s stuff, which is like right up my alley. I was telling Donovan that Fleer Ultra is like the stuff I was opening when I was a kid. But yeah, of course, at a Collecticon, it was primarily Pokemon, and other TCG cards. So yeah, we learned a ton. It was really great to see like how people were organizing their inventory, how they priced their inventory. One of the vendors had this incredible system with Square where somebody could just pay them using Apple Pay, and they tapped their phone on the vendor's phone, and boom, they took payment and walked away. I've been to a lot of card shows, gang, and I'd never seen that before. In the sports card world, it's a lot of cash. You can see a bunch of alt arts there. But that was a really cool thing where somebody could just use credit card and didn't have to carry cash, which of course is much safer. So here we finally started going a little bit deeper. We dug into some binders here just to kind of see, oh yeah, all these EXs people were selling for $1. They're technically a quarter or so on TCG, maybe 50 cents, but it's nice to see that, people aren't, nickel and diming literally. We've got some baby shinies there for $2 or $4. And I've been doing a lot of pricing of our cards, and this was also a learning experience for me as well. You can see I got my Magic Band on because we just came from the parks at Disney, which was really fun. So yeah, we were just kind of looking through here to try to get a sense of what type of inventory. I was excited to see these EXs and shinies for people who may want to be, completing their sets. Like all of that stuff right there is like, those are hits in a pack, but they're lower end cards for sure. And we have a ton of that stuff that we pick up. And when we vend at shows, I've noticed that stuff does very, very well because people want to either complete their sets or, pick up favorite characters or something. Saw some Fortnite cards up there. Donovan's been playing a bunch of Fortnite and actually has been getting me into it, which has been a lot of fun to do together as well. Moving over here, we had the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. I need those cards at some point in a 10 to complete my collection. I don't want to get binder copies, so I was kind of taking a quick look at those. Then we jumped over to this other table, and there was a lot of the 151 cards. You can see there I just mentioned this, but all the Charizards up there. The Erica's Invitation is a popular card. And obviously some full art, shinies and things, just some very, very cool selection. Once again, Jason Page had been there, the singer of the Pokemon theme song, but apparently we had just missed his concert, so that was kind of a bummer. It would have been really cool. My kids and I and my wife listen to that song in the car all the time. We love checking that out. It would have been kind of just a cool experience there. I think those are Legendary Collection reverse hollows, if I'm not mistaken, which is one of the vintage sets that has kind of attracted our attention and is definitely a favorite of ours as we start to think about cards we have enjoyed seeing from some of the older years as well. I thought this display was super, super cool. They made this like kind of PSA layover on plexiglass of these cards to designate the fact that it was a set of cards that kind of went together. Thought that was really cool from the 2002 set. Really interesting. Again, seeing cards I'd never seen before, which was super fun. And then, we're kind of making our way over to the one side, which is where some of the autographs were happening. This was an interesting display. I don't even know how they would have gotten this in there. Obviously really hard to see in those types of displays like you would see in a card shop or something. Just really crazy to see all this stuff in one place. It honestly was quite overwhelming. Trying to figure out where to go, where to look, struggling to even get up to the tables. We did go on Saturday right in the thick of the day, so I'm sure this is one of the peak times for the show. That Flareon right there was super, super cool in Japanese. That's one of my favorite artworks on a card. And then Donovan was talking a bit here about the GXs and how they differ in Japanese versus English. And we were enjoying kind of seeing some of those different things and just kind of comparing what we were seeing, noticing things, learning a lot. As I said, that was very much the theme of this visit for me. Picked that card up back in March for half the price. It's been crazy how some of these Sword and Shield era artworks have been, jumping. And there's the Latios and Latios in English in a 10. Gorgeous card. Something I'd love to have in our collection someday. So this is all the way to the far right as you enter, and we are at the front looking toward the back. And this is where all the autographs occur. So you can see the lines of people going up to each banner, and that is somebody who is signing. PSA is there authenticating the autographs on site right away, if I'm not mistaken. So you could go up, get an autograph, and then get it authenticated, which was cool. And then this was back around to the front where you could actually submit your cards for on-site grading or to have them take them back with PSA and then ship them out once they were graded. But look at the line. Crazy long. PSA does not show up to as many shows as other grading companies like SGC or Beckett. And so it was really cool to see that PSA had come out to this event. And we did not have any cards with us, but it was definitely tempting. In the future, I would want to bring some so that we could go ahead and get them dropped and get them graded without having to ship them. So you could see we even caught some of the Travie McCoy concert. It was super, super cool. I mean, just what a vibe in there. Totally different than sports card shows. Here you can see some awesome autographed cards with incredible drawings and illustrations on them. This is an area I have a lot to learn about. I don't know the names yet of some of the illustrators nor who would autograph them, but I really enjoyed checking these out, and I thought they looked really cool. I especially like that Pikachu in the middle. And then here was some more vintage stuff in a binder, in a case. It looked like that was a complete set from what we could tell. Some sealed product, which was awesome. I mean, look at some of these booster boxes here. just some crazy stuff. Also, another area we would like to get into more is the sealed product. Donovan was excited about seeing some of those. You can see he's pointing them out to me. And yeah, you know, just a super cool like father-son experience, learning from each other. And, you know, just as I said, trying to observe what all was in the room while we were there. And speaking of unique stuff, check out all those Giratinas. Here's some Lorcana with the enchanted Elsas. We've got the gray hat Pikachu, and all of those are stacks of the same card. It was really interesting approach. Obviously the seller had, you know, grabbed a bunch of raw copies and probably graded most of those. And then this might have been one of my favorite ways to display. These are all baby shinies in one showcase, and you're gonna see about 10 showcases here as we wrap up the video at our last vendor. And this vendor chose, here's a bunch of illustration rares. They chose to display each showcase by like card type. Now the catch here is you have to have like 5-10 tables to do this, but it was very clear when you walked up what was in each case. And then of course, and they had no binders. So everything from those like dollar promo cards all the way up to some of the more expensive items. As we went from case to case here, you could just kind of tell what the difference was, see what all they had. Some of them they had many copies of. So if you were trying to complete a set, or you were trying to, you know, collect a certain Pokemon or something, it was, I thought, pretty easy. Here was some full art stuff, which was really cool. I love that stained glass card there in the middle. It's one of my favorite cards. Some sealed promos, all kinds of fun stuff, some GXs here. And I just thought this was a really interesting way to do it. I don't know if we could ever afford the space that this takes, but I will say the obvious advantage to a showcase versus a binder is you can see all of the cards out in front of you, as opposed to having to flip through multiple pages of a binder. The disadvantage is some of the cards are much further away from you, like the cards in the top of the case way up there are not as easy to see as if you were just flipping through a binder seeing like 18 cards at a time. So then in here we can see all these different gold cards, which are really cool. Sometimes I feel like they're undervalued because they're really hard to pull out of packs, which is always a little surprising to me. Here we have a bunch of the secret rainbow rares of different types of Pokemon. And then eventually here's some more of different Pokemon, and then the rainbow rares of the different trainers all in one area there. You know, just really easy to find, very clear what's in that case when you walk up, which, like I said, I thought was cool. Gotta have a case full of Charizard. And then, of course, they have some alt arts up here, which was great. So this was our final stop for the show. We had an incredible time, and I just really hope you guys have enjoyed doing the walkthrough with us. This is us on the way out. So let's head back here to the studio and do a recap. All right, everybody. So that is going to do it for our very first trip to the Orlando Collecticon and any Collecticon whatsoever. It was, frankly, quite overwhelming. We had a great time, but it was a lot. It was really crowded. I felt like the space was not actually big enough to handle the crowd, which made it a little difficult to navigate. And there were times that we really couldn't even get up to the tables. So in that way, that would probably be my negative feedback. I mean, sometimes when we were trying to walk up and down the aisles, you actually couldn't even get through because people would be trying to pass someone on their side and stepping into the other. And there was carts where people are buying boxes of stuff, carrying wagons. So would love to see them improve on that side of things a little bit. But outside of that, it was really cool to check things out. And as I've said throughout this video, it was really a big learning experience for us, trying to figure out what kinds of things are there, what kinds of things do we need to continue to learn about, and just enjoying the hobby. You know, my son and my daughter, my whole family really enjoy the Pokemon thing, and have been getting to know the cards a lot better. Every month we're learning more and more. And so it was cool to go into a space, or an arena, if you will, that was like this large with this many vendors who've been doing it for a long time, to see what kind of stuff they had. We didn't end up picking anything up today, which is kind of rare for us. Often we will, you know, do a lot of buying or selling when we're at shows, but this was really just kind of a jump in and jump out, similar to my Dallas thing, as an attachment to another trip And moving forward, we're going to be doing vlogs where we're actually at shows selling, and there will be a lot more action. But if you've never been to one of these Collecticons, I hope this video was helpful to you. And also would love it if you'd drop me a comment down below and let me know what some of your favorite parts of going to Collecticons are. What was your favorite card that we saw in the cabinets and in the showcases at this show? And stay tuned for many more videos. Again, my name's Andy. This is Bliss Cards. Would love it if you consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Drop me a like, and most importantly, drop me a comment below. Would love to talk shop with you. And until our next video, hope everybody stays well. We appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.